Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and we are also,
Wait,
yeah, you want to mute on that side.
sorry.
You're, you might want to mute.
I have to mute you.
Oh, that won't work.
Someone. Okay. I've got
Okay.
one of you.
You don't want to mute you. That's it. Okay. We're recording. Live on Facebook. Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this. Darn it. I'm watching my
That's all that
language.
is.
So here we are. I am so excited. Welcome, everybody. I'm Deborah Sermonaro Eldridge with DCE Law, and you are joining us for our Thursday morning coffee break. And we are continuing this week with our series on tough lady bosses. So welcome, welcome, welcome. With that in mind, I have with us today Gabriela Bazan. Did I say that? I said that right, hopefully.
Like
Pretty much.
buzz on and buzz off.
Buzz
Yeah.
off. I love it.
That's how most people learn.
Gabriela is a website developer, a web developer, and she is in another industry that has been predominantly male, the male run for the most part. And so she's going to give us some facts on that, but she is an amazing woman in so many respects. I can't wait for you all to learn about her background. And I'm going to let her get started so we can get this interview underway. And she's going to tell you a little bit about her background and herself. So go for it.
Hi, Gabriela Bazan. I'm just a middle-aged lady that joined a male-dominated industry late in life. So it's quite an adventure. I run GLB Design and Development. Most of us use our initials to run businesses, apparently. It's our bond.
Really, you're right. DCE Law, GLB.
Yeah.
Right.
See, it works. But yeah, I just run a web development company. Started as a freelancer. 5 years ago, I opened the business. It's still going. Through the pandemic, I made it. Yeah, 15 years in the software industry, and this is where I ended up so far. So,
And that's fantastic. Now, before that, you were in the the Air Force for, let me correct that. You were in the Air Force for a number of years, 8 years, which I didn't know 8 years. That's a long time.
yes, that is the longest officially commitment I have ever made in my life. Of course, it helps to be backed by the government. So, it's one of those things.
Right. So with that in mind, just a little bit about how Gabriela and I met, because we are both on Instagram, obviously, and I'm very involved, obviously, in the social media area. And Gabriela, I think I don't even know how, but we started following each other. And I really loved your content. And I also loved that you took a very laid back approach. It was almost like just, I'm liking your stuff. We're kind of getting to know each other. And then I looked and saw that you were a web developer. I'm like, okay, you get to a point when you say, I am not qualified to handle my own website, and realize that you're wasting money, right, by trying to do everything on your own. You just can't do it. And so
Right.
I reached out to Gabriela and we started talking, and now she is actually redesigning my website, which needed a facelift. And that's probably
So
an
visit her
understatement.
site today, because next week it's going to look different. So that way you can see the before and after.
Yes, go check it out today so you can see the before and after. We should take pictures. I should take pictures of it. I'll screenshot it
Yeah.
so people can
Don't worry,
see.
I have.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
One for the books.
well, no. I have my own version. So my first website for myself was very rudimentary too. So don't feel like, and I know how to do it. So don't feel bad at all.
Right.
It's that fierce integrity. Like I can do it all. I can save money because, a lot of times as female business owners, we're just bootstrapping this stuff. And so I get the whole mentality of doing your own site and all of that stuff.
Right.
That's why, I do what I do, is because I understand my clients. I understand you need to save some money. You need to be treated respectfully.
Right.
And, you don't always get that when you're doing that. If you're trying to save money, it's hard to get quality, and it's hard to be respected when you're, a female entrepreneur. So I tend to work more with the females that are, in this tough world of entrepreneurialism, because, we have a separate kind of lifestyle than our male counterparts. They don't seem to get as much rejection as us, so they don't have to deal with this stuff that we do. So,
Right.
It's a bond.
Definitely, yeah, it is a lot. But so we were talking yesterday about the numbers of the makeup of women to men in this industry, which just blows my mind, because I wouldn't have expected it to be so diverse. Can you tell us what those numbers are?
Okay. So I guess that it wouldn't be very surprising to know that there aren't as many women web developers as there are men. So it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every 3 guys, there's a female in the industry. But as far as in the tech ownership world, it's a 2% female owners. And if you take out the co-founders, so that means, like, there's a male co-founder, it's 1.7% of tech owners. So
Wow,
it's pretty small. And like we were talking about, like the minority boxes that I check off and stuff, it's a small percentage. I don't think I reach higher than 11% in any of the boxes that I check off. So it's it's a little overwhelming at times, but hey, I'm in that little 2%.
And that's so fantastic, because you put those figures out and you see the percentage of small business ownership overall in the United States compared to that's female, and you look at it and you say, oh, that's not so bad. We're like at 40%, but then if you break it down into industry, it's so different industry to industry. Yeah. So congratulations on kind of breaking that ceiling, and that's fantastic.
Well, I think it's so female ownership businesses tend to be in the design and beautification realms, because ladies have an eye. Yeah. But what I do is I obviously can design your site, but I do more technology stuff, so custom builds and the code and that kind of stuff, and that's where it's more male dominated, where it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. So
it just has to work. I love that. So very good. So so you were in the Army for 8 years, and then 5 years ago oh God, why do I keep saying Army?
It's easy.
Every time
it's the most common
I say that. Air Force. You were in the Air Force for 8 years. Then you went ahead and you got out of the Air Force. And then 5 years ago, you decided to open this. What made you decide? Well,
yes. That's how young I am. No. So it was, the military, I was a reserve. So when I was home, I was doing, temp work. So I worked for a ton of industries. I did a ton of different jobs. It was crazy, all the things that I learned, and it actually helped me kind of operationally be able to run a business. I fell into software because a friend of mine was like, oh, they need some accounting people. And I was like, well, I've done that. So then I went from accounting to customer support to like account management, and then quality control of code. And, I started building things, and, so I've worked my way back into coding, and, I taught myself how to code in a language called Python. And when you are about a middle age, well, I was about 30 something, and I was a new coder, new programmer in the Silicon Valley.
Oh,
They
wow.
weren't really accepting people my age and my gender. Uh, I probably applied to like 100 and some different companies up there because there's so many to apply in Silicon Valley. And everybody, I would get to like a certain point and it was like, oh, but, wouldn't you rather be in a management position? And wouldn't it be more, like, doesn't it make sense for you to be a supervisor for like testing or QA or all of these other things that I'd already done? And no
Wow.
one was looking to hire the new, nearly 40-year-old person. So, to be a programmer anyway. So,
Interesting.
so
That's
I
very
said, okay,
interesting.
well, yeah. I was like, well, let's just do it, and I have a very supportive partner that I would not have been able to do this without. She said, go ahead, uh, go for it. You can do anything. And I was like, you're out of your mind. And apparently she was right. So
There you go.
thankfully.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is a wonderful story. So, in doing that, what's been one of the biggest challenges for you with running your own business just in general?
So, I mean, I mean, as soon as I saw your site, I was like, oh, well, that would have been nice to have 5 years ago. All of the what to do when you're starting, the courses that you offer on your site, it would have been helpful. Uh, I just ran and just was like, okay, well, let's do this. I've seen this happen. And, like I said, the experience I had in different industries and different roles kind of helped me navigate some of the stuff. And I am still learning. And I think being open to that, knowing that things change and knowing that I have to change with it has been probably the best, um, my my best ability to continue and grow and be as successful as I am, kind
That's
of.
wonderful. And I have to say, I mean, it's the designs that you do. Of course, I got to see some of your designs when we had our interviews, and they're just beautiful. And it gives you the sense to let you know, oh my gosh, my site can look like that if you have the right person doing it. By the way, just to make sure that you have the right person doing it. And so, what's been the most rewarding thing now as you've owned your business? You've made it go.
I think it's, like I said, there's a lot of boxes that I check off as, a minority person in this country. I think it's knowing that somewhere in the world there's going to be somebody that's like, okay, well, if that middle-aged Latin homosexual whatever
Right.
person was able to go and do it in the tech industry that was so male dominated and all the odds are against her. And the fact that I did it while my partner's son was, diagnosed with lymphoma, that was the whole reason we're like, okay, well, let's move me to home to work and all this stuff. Like there were extremely difficult circumstances, and we did it, and we have a life that is, nice.
Right.
I think the fact that it could possibly somewhere down the line maybe inspire somebody makes me feel rewarded.
And you know what? Talking about inspiring people, I have to tell all of you, if you are not yet following GLB Designs on Instagram or Facebook, you need to, because I love the story and posts that you do on a daily basis. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so inspirational. And even the tips, but just the inspirational. It's very creative and just very intentional. And I really enjoy that. So just to let you know, that's been
I'm glad.
wonderful.
I'm
It
glad.
caught my eye recently
It's
with a little
honestly just
dog.
for me because you know
Right,
how like the stuff comes up and repeats and stuff. I'm like, oh, like there will be
right.
stuff from a few years ago that I'm like, that was awesome. Thank you, me. I'm so glad I got to read that again. Like, yes, keep going, keep going.
I
Because
love it.
I'm sure there are days that you're just like, nah,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't feel
I
like
mean,
it.
I think we all, men, women, and whoever, we all have stories, and
Absolutely.
there are those days. And I've, experienced that this week where you're struggling, even though we're strong women and
Mhm.
we have this persona, but we're still human. And so
Absolutely.
a lot of the things, I think you're right, that any of us put out there, we have a
Yeah.
personal touch from it. It's personally touched us. So
Absolutely.
if you had to tell other women who are sitting there on the fence, and there are thousands of them sitting there on the fence,
Absolutely.
should I,
I
should I
know.
not? What would you tell them?
Yes, do it because it's risky and it can be tough. And there are days that are just like they beat you up. Absolutely. And that will happen at your job. So you may as well do it for yourself because I know I was always willing to get up and go to work for somebody else's dream. And I know personally that I made people millionaires. I've been in startups where like the guy was not rich when we got there, and he's now a VC. So like I know him personally. I know he's very successful. He's got millions of dollars. He spends his whole time vacationing now because I got up at 6 in the morning to go to his job. And, not all me, but what I'm
Right.
saying. So if I'm willing to do that for someone else's success, I like to think that I'd be willing to do that for my own. So, you know, these people that are successful, they're not, it's not an accident. They just didn't give up, and for me, I just feel like someone believed in me, my partner, enough to say, go for it. So I need to borrow that belief until I can have that belief in myself. And I do now. I definitely borrowed her belief in me. So go for it. Don't stop. Don't give up. It gets hard, but it's all worth it.
And I'm so glad. And that's so inspirational and so true because it's not easy. But
No,
it's consistency and showing up and being there and just riding through the tough times. Actually, not riding, plowing through, I think, the tough times.
100%. Yeah.
It's a roller coaster, goes up, goes down. But you know what? You're right. But you're doing it for yourself and your family and your loved ones, and you're building
Yeah.
something. And
Yeah.
that means so much. So, oh my
Yeah.
God, thank you so much for talking with us
Of course.
today,
Of course.
Gabriela.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's fabulous. Again, everybody. So, two things. Follow GLB Designs on Instagram. Check her out on Facebook. And also take a look at my website now.
And then next week when we launch it.
www.dclaw.com.
Or don't go until next week. It's fine because that's not me this week.
Not this week. And then you can see the transformation to next week. So thank
it's
you.
Like the swan.
It's a swan. It's a baby right now, but soon it's gonna be a swan. So
got good bones though.
Good foundation. All right. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. You have a great day, and I'll be talking with you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.